Hi, everyone. I think you all can hear me now. So we're going to get started. We want to thank everybody for joining us today for this Young Woman in Bio workshop. Today's event is being hosted in collaboration with TechGirlz. So we're really thankful that their volunteers are here today to help us learn about technology and how we can use that to learn about science and answer problems about the environment. So today's event is hosted by Young Women in Bio. We are a group who tries to inspire today's girls to become more interested in science, technology, engineering, and STEM. And we plan events throughout the year to introduce girls to different areas of STEM. So some of you may have come to some of our events in the past, and we are very thankful that you are here today. Young Women in Bio has chapters across the United States. So many of you are from the North Carolina area, but I know we also have some girls here from different areas in the US. So we thank you for joining us today for today's workshop. As I mentioned before, today's workshop is hosted in collaboration with TechGirlz. So they are a group that's similar to Young Women in Bio, but they do a lot more technology-focused events. So we're really thankful to have them here today, and I'm going to pass it over to Rachel, who is going to be the lead instructor for today. She's going to be walking us through the activity, and she will also tell you a little bit more about TechGirlz. So we hope in the future you will come to more Young Women in Bio events and also look at TechGirlz for other events to explore different areas of STEM. So I'll pass it off to Rachel now, who will get us started. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Caitlin, so much for that awesome introduction. Hi, everybody. My name is Rachel, and I'll be instructing you today. So I volunteer with TechGirlz, which is an organization that provides instructional workshops of different aspects of STEM. A lot of the time it focuses on things like coding. So if you're interested in learning some computer languages like Python or C++, definitely check out the TechGirlz website, and you can find a lot of different workshops that are related to technology. Today, we're going to be working on investigating sources of water pollution. So I'm so excited to be sharing this presentation with you guys, and we're going to have a really fun time. Awesome. All right, here we go. So we did our little icebreaker. So today's agenda is we're going to be learning about groundwater and groundwater pollution. And to do that, we're going to be using an online mapping tool, ArcGIS, which we set up earlier. And we're going to be sorting data and sort of understanding how scientists and engineers can use geospatial data to protect water resources. So what is the water cycle? Does anyone know about the water cycle? Have you guys talked about this in sort of your classes? What do you guys know about the water cycle? You can put it something in the chat, or you can raise your hand. You know everything about the water cycle? Okay, you know about it. All right, so when you're thinking about the water cycle, that's really like how water moves from the surface of the earth and it goes into the atmosphere, right? And then it cools and condenses, and it can come down as like precipitation, so it can be rain or snow, and then it'll fall to the earth with soil runoff and enter into the groundwater. It can run back into streams, into oceans, can be transpired up from plants again, and it sort of circles through all the time, right? So this is really important because on Earth, we only have so much water, right? We can't just make new water. So we're trying to make sure that we're using our water efficiently and that we're making sure that we're being good stewards of the earth here. So one of the really interesting things about the water cycle is how we can use it for our benefit. So does anyone know where their drinking water comes from? So this is a kind of interesting question. Okay, so you know like a specific area. Okay, Rainer, you raised your hand, go ahead.
It could come from like a well or like, and then it goes into your tap.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of different ways that you can get your drinking water. Sometimes if you're like in a more rural area, you can have it from like well water or groundwater. But sometimes if you're in a more like urban area, you can actually get your water that's been like treated from different areas like a river or a reservoir. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get water, right? So groundwater specifically is water that's found underground in the cracks between sort of the sand and rock. So it's stored in and it moves very slowly through geological formations of the sand, soil, and rocks called aquifers. So if you look here at this picture, we can see that we have surface water, we've got this area that's called the unsaturated zone. That's where it's really just a lot of soil. There is some water, but there's not a lot of water. And then we reach what's called the water table. And underneath that water table, that's where there is just a ton of water. So this is what's called the saturated zone. And a lot of times when you're having like wells or aquifers, they're digging down and they're tapping into that water table, and they have to pull water up from the water table. So water comes into that water table through precipitation, right? So it has to infiltrate down through the unsaturated zone, and then it has to go back all the way down to the groundwater. So one thing that's really important is that when we're taking care of the earth, we want to make sure that we're not bringing up too much of this groundwater, because it takes a while for this groundwater water table to refill. So we have to be careful to make sure that we're not taking up too much of this water. Okay. So why is groundwater important? Well, not only do we use it for ourselves, we can see here we have this picture where this water well supply, when we take water up from the water table, it actually drains the water table and causes the water table to go down lower and lower. So the more water you take up into use, like the lower the water table will get and the harder it is to get water in the future. It's also really important that we take care of our groundwater because it can actually get contaminated very easily from things that we do. So sort of things like waste disposal right here, this can spill contaminants into the groundwater, and that can impact rivers. And you know, rivers, they flow really fast and they flow really far. So that could be carrying contaminants who knows where. So that's one thing that we need to be careful about thinking about, is where our water is coming from and how we're taking care of it, because we want to make sure that we're not putting chemicals into the environment that could harm us or could harm the ecosystem, right? So how do we tell where groundwater pollution is coming from? That's a really interesting question. And what we can do is we can take samples of areas and we can test the water for pollution. And then using that data, we can create maps. And these maps can show us where we're having pollution, right? So when we're looking at this, this is a map of nitrate, which is a common nutrient that's found in surface water and groundwater. And it's a lot of times it comes from agricultural sources. So it's coming from like fertilizer. So if you're having an area where there's a lot of farmland and they're putting in a lot of fertilizer on the ground, when it rains, it can take nitrate off and carry it into the environment. And these areas are showing a lot higher like levels of nitrate than some other ones, right? We can see these green areas have low levels of contamination, while these red areas have really, really high areas or high areas of contamination. So what makes a pollution source? Well, this comes from a combination of different chemical elements, right? So we have here the periodic table of elements, which shows us all of the known elements, and different combinations of these chemicals can be combined in certain ways that can make them easier to dissolve in water and show up in the environment, and can be dangerous at certain levels. So many of them are fine to drink in like small quantities. However, we do have sources that can cause the water quality to diminish. So we have to be careful about monitoring how much chemicals gets into the water, because we really don't want to be drinking anything that's above a maximum contaminant level, right? So how do we measure contamination? One way we can do this is through pH. So does anyone know what pH is, or what pH tells us?
pH is the level of acidity.
Yeah, so pH is the level of acidity. And specifically, it's the amount of hydrogen ions that are in a solution. This tells us how it is an acid or a base. And this right here is just an example of the dissociation of water. So we have our H2O, and that goes back and forth between a hydroxide ion, which is just oxygen and hydrogen here with a negative charge, and just a hydrogen ion. So when we see something with more hydrogen ions, that's going to tell us it's more acidic. And if we see something with more hydroxide ions, this OH, that's going to be more basic. So does anyone know, is orange juice an acid or a base? Oh, I gave away the answer. I did not mean to do that, but it is an acid. So does anyone know, is soap an acid or a base?
A base?
Yeah, that's right. So soap is actually a base. There we go. You see a lot of good answers in the chat coming up. Okay. So we can measure pH a lot of different ways, but the most common ways are to do it through what's called litmus paper, which is sort of a little piece of paper, and you'll take your piece of paper and you'll dip it into the water and it'll come back a certain color. So if the paper is red, then it's going to be more acidic. And if the paper turns blue, it's going to be more basic. So you can see here that there's sort of a scale of different numbers here, right? And different colors. That's going to be our pH scale. Does anyone know the range of the pH scale, what numbers it uses? This might be a little tricky one.
I think I worked with a pH paper before, so I'm guessing like 1 to 10, but I may
You're close. You're really close. It goes from 0 to 14. So the 0, that's going to be your more acidic, and 14, that's going to be more basic. So neutral is considered 7. So if you have something that gives you a 7, that means that you have an equal balance being acidic and basic. So another way that we can test pH is by using a pH probe. And this will actually measure the electrical charge of the ions, right? So we talked about this hydrogen ion and this hydroxide ion. We can measure the electric potential of these using this fancy pH probe. Does anyone know which one you would want to use in the field? Like if you had to guess, which one do you think is more accurate and which one would you want to use in the field? If we're thinking about our litmus paper versus our pH probe.
probably the probe, because so you can like stick it in the ground or something. Probably
Yeah,
the probe. The paper could get soaked, or it could be messed up easily.
yeah, that's a really good point. So with our paper, we can see that the kind of numbers that they're giving us, right? Like what happens if we have a paper that's not exactly that color? What if it's like in between this green and this yellow here, right? It's a little bit harder to quantify what our actual pH number is, but the probe is a really accurate way to take your pH really fast. And I used to do this actually when I was doing a research project at my university. I would go around in Philadelphia and I would have to take the pH of a lot of different water bodies. So this is a really great way to do that. So the way that we measure contaminants is through the concentration of the solution. And this is just really quickly, what concentration is it's a certain amount of a weight that's dissolved in a certain volume of water. So today through our workshop, we're going to be using the concentration of milligrams per liter. So that means that we're having 1 milligram in 1 liter of water, and that's going to be our concentration. So that's just something to keep in mind. So the contaminant that we're going to be looking at specifically today is nitrate. So nitrate is an ion that is found naturally, and it's really, really important for plant growth and animal growth and nourishment, but too much of a good thing isn't always a good thing, right? So nitrogen can be a little bit dangerous because if you see here, there's potential health impacts. Excess nitrogen in water can cause infants to be really sick. There's a lot of different sources of nitrate that are coming into drinking water. For example, we talked about fertilizer use, right? So if it's being used in agriculture, it can run off of that agriculture and end up in water sources. It can also come from septic tanks and eroding natural deposits of nitrogen. So another source to think about is that 78% of the air that we breathe is composed of nitrogen gas. So nitrogen is all around us in the environment, but if we have that nitrate ion, it's too much in our water, that could be a little bit dangerous. So another reason that this can be dangerous is that it can result in really large algal blooms that we call eutrophication. That's a really big word. So what this means is that too much algae or too much nitrate can feed the algae to a point where there is so much algae on top of this water, right? You can't even see the water. It's all blue, it's all green. So when we have too much of this algae here, this can essentially what's called kill a lake. Now you're wondering, how does that kill a lake? But if you think about it, when we have this big layer of algae here, that means that water or light can't get down into the water. And there's organisms in that water that need light, right? There's seaweed down there, there's all sorts of animals. They need light and they need oxygen, but having this huge layer of algae on top can be really dangerous. So we can use measurements of nitrite in similar ways to pH, right? They have test strips that are kind of like litmus paper, and they also have probes that you can easily do. So once again, we're thinking that like when we have a probe, that's going to be more accurate. We can also use really fancy and very expensive laboratory equipment to measure these sort of concentrations. And this is an ion chromatograph, which separates ions based on how well they stick to a material. So you sort of collect water in the field and then inject it into your chromatograph. And then they're separated, the ions are separated as they flow through the system. So this can tell us how much of a certain ion is in the water. But this is a very, very fancy and expensive laboratory device that you would need a very fancy chemistry lab to have one of these. So this is just another example of our eutrophication, which shows that we can have so much nitrogen that we can have huge algal blooms in Lake Erie. And this is shown from a satellite, right? So you can see this from space. So these are things that we need to think about and make sure that we're keeping track of. So we're making sure that we're not putting too much nitrate in the environment. Okay. So when we're thinking about mapping, like what is a map really? Why would we want to make a map? So a map is just a way of representing the Earth's surface, and we can do this for a lot of reasons that we show right here. But the real reason that we're doing this laboratory today is to show sort of spatial relationships between contaminant level and area, right? We're thinking about using spatial relationships to determine which way groundwater might be flowing. So when we're thinking about a map, one important thing to think about is lines of latitude and longitude. And these are used to sort of orient you throughout the Earth. So when we're looking at lines of latitude, I like to think of this as like a ladder. These ones go across horizontally, like rungs of a ladder, while our lines of longitude are sort of vertical and they go around the entire circumference of the globe. Let's see. So this is a really interesting application of mapping that is relevant, I think, even more so today. So why is mapping important? If we think about applying it to areas outside of like pollution, we can think about like disease outbreaks. So this is a really, really famous example of John Snow and cholera. John Snow was one of the first epidemiologists, and he essentially was able to find out which water pumps were contaminated based on the people that were having outbreaks through a city. So he was able to mark down who had sickness, and from this and being able to see how many people there were, he was able to point out which water sources were contaminated. So that's essentially what we're doing today. And if you think about this, this can be extended to what health professionals are doing right now with COVID-19, right? So if they're trying to find the source of a specific outbreak, they can keep track of all the people in the area and who they kept contact with. And this is sort of the basis of what epidemiology is all about. So mapping and data, these things can all be sort of combined and have real world application, which is really, really cool. So does anyone know what GIS is? Has anyone heard of it before? It's okay if you haven't. Yeah, it's a little bit obscure. They don't really teach you about this kind of thing. But GIS is a geographic information system. So it's a computer system that you use for capturing and displaying data about the Earth and portraying data in different ways. So today we're going to be using ArcGIS Online, which is going to let you create and share maps. You can actually build apps with it, and you can have a lot of different ways to communicate data. So everyone should have Excel or Google Sheets. So if you don't have any access to that, please let a TA know and we'll get you set up with that right away. We sent out a document at the beginning of class, so hopefully everyone's prepped and ready to go. So sort of a little bit of an introduction to Excel and Google Sheets. We can use these programs to help us do math, make really cool charts and graphs, and organize our data so that people can understand what's going on better. So this is just an example here. This is showing a spreadsheet that was used to calculate water throwing through pipes. This is a lot of data here, but they're able to take in all of these different variables and do some really fancy math on them and be able to show how much water is flowing through a pipe. So engineers and scientists use Excel really often to sort of help create their data and help understand what's going on. So does anyone know what a matrix is? Have you heard of a matrix? That's okay too. So a matrix is really just a system of rows and columns. So when we're using Excel, we're going to be dealing with our rows, which go across horizontally, and our columns, which go up and down, right? So this is a really big matrix right here that we have a bunch of different cells within this that we can click and we can add information. So let's see. I'm going to stop this share and let's see. We're going to pull up Excel. So let me do that for a second. So everyone, if you can pull up Excel, and if you're not using Excel, you can pull up Google Sheets. And I think that would be helpful as well. Let me pull it up for a second. All right, I got a blank workbook going up here. Let me share my screen. Okay, can you see my Excel screen?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So when we're going to be dealing with our data today in Excel, we're going to be using our rows and columns. So one thing that you can do is you can just click on your row here and that will highlight your entire row. Or you can click on your column here and that can highlight your entire row. You can also click and drag so that you can create an entire range of rows and columns. So sort of like a tiny matrix within your larger grid. So these are just things to keep in mind and are useful to manipulate data. So now we're going to send you a link to a folder on Google Drive. And from this folder, there's going to be a bunch of different documents you will need to download. There's only a few, so let's send this folder along in the chat. Okay, so there's the Google Drive folder. Let me pull it up so you guys can see it. So there's going to be a couple files here. You're going to click on local places, CSV, and you're going to right click on that and you're going to hit download. Okay. And then you're going to right click on this and you're going to hit download. Now, if you're not using Excel and you're using Google Sheets instead what you're going to do is you're going to double click on this. It's going to open it into a new tab. And from here, this is view only, so what you have to do is you have to make your own version of this for your Google Drive. So you're going to go to File, and then you're going to hit Make a Copy. Now when you hit Make a Copy, you're going to hit the student folder, if that's what's showing up. Go back and just select My Drive. And you can just rename this, and so it says Cape Cod Water Quality. Okay. So that should take you into a new tab. All right. Does that make sense? Okay, if you're doing it in Excel, I'm going to show you that in a second. So let me just share my screen here. Please share. Okay. All right. So we're going to open this document in Excel. All right. Can you guys see my Excel sheet?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So you're going to hit this enable editing button and that's going to let us edit. Okay. So now once you're here and we have this file open in Excel, we can see that there's a lot of data, right? So we're going to take this and we're just going to save this as, and we're going to rename this, and I'm going to name it Rachel Water Quality. So just put your first name and then water quality, and then you're just going to hit save.
Can you show
Okay.
that again?
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have your Excel workbook pulled up?
Yeah.
Okay. You're just going to go to File, and then you're going to hit Save As, and then just rename this with your first name. So you put Raina Water Quality, and then you're just going to hit Save.
Thank you.
Okay. So now that we have it saved, we're going to do this again in Google Sheets, but I'm just showing everyone who's using Excel first. So if you're doing this for Google Sheets, just sit tight. Yes, this is for Cape Cod. So this is when we are here in our, oops, I did not mean to open this folder. When we are here in our folder, this is the data that we have downloaded here. So we've downloaded our Cape Cod water quality, and we're just opening that in either Google Sheets, or Excel? Okay. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at this information. So can anyone say, like, what is this information showing us? What do you think's going on? Does anyone have any idea?
I guess.
It's
Yeah,
just
so
showing the latitude and longitude.
Yeah, so it's showing us latitude and longitude, right? It's also showing us a well number. Okay, so this is showing us like the number of what well we're talking about. So when we're talking about wells, we're using groundwater, okay? And it's also showing us a concentration, right? We talked about that when we said that we were having a concentration of a solution, so a certain weight within a certain volume of water, right? So this is a concentration of our pollutant, nitrate. So if we look at this, we can tell that we have totally different ranges of our pollutants. So what we want to do here is we want to sort this data so that we can organize this so that the lowest amount is first. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this button that says sort and filter, and you're going to hit smallest to largest. Okay. So now that we have everything from smallest to largest, what we're going to do is we are going to create a new tab right here, and we're going to call this contaminant level. You don't have smallest to largest on your sort filter? Okay. Do you have custom sort at all? You might have sort A to Z. Okay. So if you click on these numbers here rather than on nitrate, that would be sort A to Z, but if you can click on the numbers, okay. So try clicking sort A to Z.
For mine, it says that it can't be applied to the selected range.
Okay, so can you try to just click on a single value within this column here, right? And then try to click sort.
I'm using Google. So this is for Excel, right?
This is for Excel, yeah.
So I can chill out because I use Google. So
yeah, you can chill out for a second. Don't worry, we'll get to that. So if people are using Excel, are you guys a little bit confused? Okay, you're getting it to set up. Okay, that's okay, no worries. So does your Excel sheet look like, so your Excel sheet, if we just undo this, we'll do that again. This is what your Excel sheet looks like when you import it, right? So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna sort this column right here. So just click on any one of these numbers and then hit sort and filter, and then sort smallest to largest. Yeah, everyone who's using Google Sheets, just hold on for a second and we'll get to you. But first, we're just going to show how to do this in Excel. So is everyone using Excel? Do you guys understand what we just did right there? Do you need any help? I'm going to say that silence is reassuring. Okay, so now we're going to type in this column E, contaminants level. Okay. All right, so now that we have contaminant level, what we're going to do is we're going to sort of define our contaminant level based on a certain range. So we're going to say that if our contaminant is from 0 to 4, we're going to call that low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type low, and then I'm going to click and drag this low, and I'm going to go all the way down here to where I find a value that is higher than 4. So if I look in this column, I can see that this value right here, this is higher than 4 because this is 4.08. So I'm just going to click and drag my low right here all the way to this portion right here, and then I'm going to stop. So next, we're going to say that our medium range, we're going to say that's from 4 to 10. Okay. Oop, that did not format how I wanted it to. So we're going to put medium right here, and we're going to go and look down our sheet, and we can see that we have 8.7, 8.9, 9.5, and then we have right here 10.43. So we're going to put medium right here as our last one for our medium. So between this range, we're going to click our medium and we're going to drag it all the way down. Does that make sense? All right. And then moving the next one, we're going to put high, and this is going to be going from 10 to 30. So we can see this is 17, 18. We're going to keep scrolling down until we reach a point. Here we go, 29. And we can just add our high right here. So we can go back up. And if your isn't adding for all the cells, make sure that you have it clicked right here. You should have a little white cross, and then once you get to the corner, it should turn to a black cross, and then click and drag that down. And it should autofill. So we'll just keep autofilling that and drag it down to there. All right, and then the last ones, we're gonna say very high. So we're just going to click this and drag until the end of our file. Okay. So now that we have that, we've sort of marked out where all of our contaminants are and how the level of contaminant is. So now we're just going to go to File and we're going to hit Save. And then now I'm going to go back and show how to do that in Google Sheets. Okay. So if you have Excel, you can sort of hang tight for a second. Yes. So the ranges are 0 to 4 is low, 4 to 10 is medium, 10 to 30 is high, and then 30 and above is very high. Okay. So now that we're here in Google Sheets, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go to View, and you're going to hit Freeze, and you're going to go one row. Okay. So we just want to make sure that this row doesn't move along with it. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to click on this. Any one of these numbers in our nitrate column, you go to Data and hit Sort Column A to Z. There we go. So now we have sorted our column and everything is really nice the way we want it. So we're going to go to E right here and we're going to hit Contaminant. So once again, we decided that from 0 to 4 would be low. We can note that we're going to only go up to here, so we'll just put a bold for now. We can just click and down. You shouldn't have to request edit access, so what you should do is, if you're on this document here, you should go to File and then Make a Copy. And then you should be editing your copy. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'll just show you how to do it from this Make a Copy, right? So we're here, we hit Make a Copy. We'll just say Cape Cod Water Quality. I'll hit Back and then my drive. I'll just select that. Then I hit OK. It should open it right into a new tab, right? Okay. So if your data isn't showing up, just make a new copy and see if you can work with that. So now what we're going to do is, again, we're going to go to our view first. And then you're going to freeze your first row. That's probably what happened if the heading was gone. It got rid of the first row. So see if you can hit undo or make a brand new copy of your file. And then just go ahead and freeze the first row. So then now what we're going to do is, again, we're going to go to Data. We're going to click Sort Sheet with our A to Z. And we're going to do that after we have clicked on one of these in this row. So from there, it should sort this, and you should have your labels here still at the top. So then we're just going to add contaminant level here. Okay, I see that we have a hand raised. Gwen?
Mine says short column G, A to Z.
Yeah, that shouldn't, it says short column G, A to Z. Make sure that you're clicked in this nitrate column here. That should be in column D. And then you should just have a sort from A to Z there.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so okay. So if anyone is really stuck and needs help, raise your hand.
If you're really stuck right now, we're gonna pull you guys in the private breakout room so we can talk to you one-on-one. So if you let us know, I know Alea wanted some help. If anybody else wants help, just let us know and we'll do that. So we're gonna take like a pause for everybody to try and work through this. And then if you have any questions, I see Noreen wants help. So we'll do that in 1 second. Just put it in the chat and we'll, yep, okay, we'll do that.
Okay. All right, let's see if we can make some breakout rooms.
I think I don't know if you have the option to do that. I might have to do that. I'm gonna do that right now.
Okay.
I'll put them with the TAs, Rachel, and then you can stay here.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
Okay. Is column 24 low or medium? Okay, so the range that we're thinking of is that we want from 0 to 4 is going to be a low. So you're thinking column or row 24 here? Okay, so this one's going to be medium. Yeah. Don't worry, Lee, we're going to pull you into a breakout room.
Okay, so I started assigning people to breakout rooms. You guys should be able to join. I put a TA in each room. So hopefully I'll keep this open, and if I missed you, just type it in the chat.
Thank you so much, Caitlin.
Yeah.
All right. So we just sorted our list, right? And we put contaminant level right up here at the top. Let's see. So what we're going to do now, is we're just going to add our labels, right? So we said from 0 to 4, that's going to be low. So we'll hit low here, and then we'll just drag this down all the way here. We can see that we won't actually reach 4 until this point, but this is greater than 4. So we're just going to drag our low all the way to here. Okay. So next is 4 to 10. So we'll type medium. And then we're going to drag this. We're going to drag it down right here until we reach this point. And then the next is going to be 10 to 30. So then we're going to put high. And then we are going to click and we're going to drag this all the way down till we reach 30. So we can tell here that our numbers at the side are still pretty low. We need to go all the way to 30. Okay. Let's see. This goes all the way to 29. And we got one more. Okay. So then the last ones, we're just going to put very high. We're just going to click and we're going to drag this all the way down. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. Does everyone in the main room right now understand what we just did? Or do we want to go over it again?
I just have a quick question.
Yes.
So 4 to 10 is medium, correct?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah, I'll just, let's see. Caitlin, do you think you can drop Noreen into a breakout room?
So she has been added to a breakout room. She hasn't joined it.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right.
Noreen, if you need some help, let me know. Oh, okay. She joined it, but she says her problem was fixed. So.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Yay. That's what we like to hear. Okay. So now what we're going to do is you're going to hit File, and you're going to go to the Download tab, and you're going to put comma separated values. So you're going to download this as a CSV. So you're going to hit Download, and it should automatically start downloading for you. Okay.
Why do you need to download this? I mean, does it just save to your drive?
Well, we need to download it because then we're going to be going into the ArcGIS program, and we need to have it downloaded to transport there. Yes, you do need to download it. Oops, sorry. What were you saying?
How do you? Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Go for it.
Could you show how to download it once again?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're in Excel or if you're in Google Sheets, you're just going to go to File. You're going to go to Download, and then you're going to go to comma separated values, and you're going to download it as a CSV.
Okay, yeah, got it. Thank you.
How do
Now,
I download it on Excel?
We're going to do that right now. So if
Okay.
you're doing it in Excel, you're just going to go to File, and you're going to hit Save As. And instead of where it says Excel Workbook, you're going to click on this drop down here, and we're going to select CSV. Yeah, comma delimited right here. And then you're just going to hit Save. Okay. So now that we have that, we're going to go to our ArcGIS account, which is the page that you guys should have gotten earlier. So this is the page that we should go to. So if you've already made your account, here's the link.
I'm at the home page. I'm at my profile page. Do I click ArcGIS, or what do I? Because I'm in my account. Like, what button do I go from there?
That's okay. That's okay. So is this what your page looks like here?
No, my page looks like my settings.
Click the link that I just sent in the chat. If you're already logged in, it should take you to a page that looks like this.
Okay, give me a minute to get over there.
Okay, Raina, you had a question?
Good.
Yeah, when you download in Excel, there's multiple CSVs. So which one?
So for that, the one that you're going to choose when we do this is just the one that says comma delimited right here.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so right now we're back here at ArcGIS Online. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on this button up here at the top that says Map. Okay, this is going to take a second to load. Let's see. All right, so this is showing us a map here, right? We can see that this is a map of the United States. So we're going to explore this a little bit. So we can zoom in, we can zoom out. I can zoom into where I am. I'm in Philadelphia right now. So this is where I am. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to this button that says Add, and we're going to click the drop down. and we're going to go to let's see, search for layers right here. Okay, so if you click the link that was just sent, okay, we can take a pause here since there's still people in breakout rooms. We'll take a pause here, but we'll recap if we click the link that I sent in the chat. So
I'm gonna join the one breakout room that's still going to see what they're doing, and I'll be back.
okay, that sounds good. I'll just recap what we just did. So the link that I sent in the chat, I'll send it again. So does everyone sort of have this screen here?
Yes.
You got it? Okay, awesome. So we're just going to go to this button at the top that says map. So everybody click on map. The local places document in the folder. So right here. So we can just go down to download and make a download of that. So just click the download, just so you have a copy of your local places. Okay. All right. So now that you're on your map, make sure it's functioning and you can zoom in and you can zoom out. So does everyone have the map? You're still doing the low high? Okay. Gwen, if you want to speed that up, you can try to do that trick, right? Where if you click the bottom and you have it on this corner, you can click and drag it till it reaches a certain point, right? All right. So going back to our map here, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the add button. Yeah, if you're still doing the low high, it's okay. OTA will help you get caught up. Just make sure you're using that click and drag to make things faster for yourself. All right, so we're gonna go to this add part and we're gonna hit search for layers, right? And it's gonna say 0 layers. So we're gonna say, oh no, we wanna find some layers. So where it says my content, it doesn't have search for layers.
No, I mean, I can't do the click and drag thing for some reason.
Oh, okay. If you can, try to see if you can copy and paste. That may help you get there faster. But when we're here and we're on this search for layers, you're gonna click the drop down that says my content and you're gonna click ArcGIS online. Okay, so now we're searching through the entire database of files that they have on ArcGIS online. So we're gonna type in USGS hydro cache. So I can copy and paste that for you guys. So you know how to spell that. So it's USGS hydro cache. And you're going to look at this first one here, which is updated 123.20, and you're just going to hit the plus button. Okay. So now that you have that, you're going to, okay, technical difficulties getting into the map.
I'm not seeing the result. So I copied and pasted your thing and it's like not there.
Okay. Did you hit ArcGIS online here? Because if it's still in my content, nothing will show up.
It's on ArcGIS online, yes.
Okay.
What do you do?
Sorry, the issue for me is that when I click on the link, I've already made an account. I did it earlier. But when I click on it, it says you need to sign in. So then when I sign in, it just says there was an error with your submission. Please try again. So I actually can't get to, I can see the map and I can move the map, but I can't get to this part.
Okay, that's really interesting. Okay, I would just say that.
Is it the first one? 123.20? Yep, I found it. I got it.
Do you press that?
Okay, so are you able to see the map now? Are you able to get to this USGS hydrocache?
I see it. What do I do?
So there's a little plus button in the corner and just hit this plus.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're able to do that, for if you're in Sheets and you need to download it, you can go to File, Download, comma separated values. There you go, save as a CSV. Okay, so going back here with our larger map, if we go to this back button here, we can click on this show contents of map, and it should have USGS hydrocache right here as one of the options. So what you're going to do is you can unclick that, or you can click it. We're going to leave it unclicked for now.
Wait,
Okay.
hold on. Can you restart? Sorry, I got confused.
That's okay. So when we go to, we were just at our ad, we were in search for layers. We're going to just click the back button here and just click this button right here that says show contents of map. You can find this under the details. So show contents of map. And then you should have this automatically checked because we just added it. But we're just going to uncheck this. Okay. All right. All right, how do you get to there on the map? Okay, so let me see if I can resend. Let's see, the original link that I have here for, let's see, you've created an account. This is the ArcGIS main page right here. So this is what it should look like. You should just hit the button up here that says map. Right. So once you hit map, we'll just do this again real quick. We're going to go to add, search for layers. My content will go down, hit ArcGIS online. We're going to type in USGS hydrocached. Then we're going to hit enter. There should be one layer shown up here, and you're just going to hit that plus button.
Mine says no items found.
So when you do that, make sure that you have ArcGIS online selected, because if the default is my content, and that's going to say no items found. So make sure that this right here is ArcGIS online. Okay. So from here, after we have clicked this plus button here, right, we've just added our USGS hydrocached. We're going to go, I'm going to hit back, and then we're going to go to show contents of map, and we're just going to uncheck this. All right. So now we're going to go back to our add tab, and we're going to click add layer from file. So this is going to bring you a pop-up here. It's saying that we can locate files that we want to import, and we can use a CSV. So what you're going to do is you're going to click choose file. And it should give you your downloads. So
I have a question. So when I look it up, it says there's two different ones. One says by Lashville. And
you can use that, the top result. So the one that came up first, use that one.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. So we can repeat this step here to add a file. So you're just going to go to the add button again, and you're going to click add layer from file. Okay. So then you're going to hit the choose file button. Okay.
When we found the USGS thing, do we click add to map or use as base map?
So you shouldn't have the option to do either of those. You should just hit the button here that just says plus. That's all. So just hit the button that says plus, and then that's it. All right, so then we're gonna go back. We have it unchecked, or yeah, we'll uncheck it. And then we're gonna go to our add layer from file, choose file. And then the first file that we're gonna add here is our file that is local places. So our CSV that we downloaded earlier for local places, we're just gonna select that and hit open.
Is it the docs one right there? Is it the docs one that we did?
It should be the file that you downloaded here from this folder. When we hit file,
or is it that doc? It has a doc, or is it a spreadsheet?
it should be a .csv file.
Okay, understood.
Either one that you download is fine, because they're both .csv.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So then you're just gonna hit import layer. This warning is gonna come up, that's okay, just ignore it. Just hit okay. All right. So now we have,
Quick question.
yes.
Okay, so we added the spreadsheet that we just did the low, high, and the very high thing to the map, right?
So the first one that we added was our local places.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yep, no worries. So for the local places, it's going to say choose an attribute to show. If you click this drop down, it says show location only or show potential source.
Do I press import source now and then after I get to okay?
So you would just go to add here, right? Add layer from file, choose file, and then select your local places and hit open, right? And then you're just gonna follow the prompts and it's gonna give you a warning. You can ignore the warning and just hit okay.
Okay. So, okay.
Excuse me. If we were to like add it as a layer, like to import the layer, what would it be called? Like since we save it as a CSV.
So it should just be wherever you saved it to your folder. Like mine automatically just went to my downloads folder. So it should just be the file that's called localplaces.csv. So if you look at the type here, you can see this says Microsoft Excel comma separated values. So just local places CSV. Okay. So now that you have your local places, we're going to make sure that the drop down here is selected for a potential source. And we're going to hit this button that says select a drawing style. So it's going to have options right here. Click this options button. Okay, so this is going to take us into our potential sources. So it's saying that our sources of contamination could be an active landfill, a golf course, horse stables, a bunch of different types of houses, a military base, or a sewage treatment plant. So what we're going to do now is we're going to change our symbols and colors to what we want them to be. So we're going to click on the symbol for active landfill, and it's going to say change symbol. Yes, Raina?
How do we get there again? I missed it.
Okay, so from here, we just we added our layer from a file, right?
Yeah, I just don't know how to get to the potential sources.
Okay, that's okay. Let me see if I can go back. So from here, it says potential attribute to show potential source. You're just going to click the options button right here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So then for our active landfill, we're just going to click on this change symbol. And a whole bunch of stuff is going to come up. So you can change the color here. So I'm going to say I want it to be black because this is a landfill. And I'm going to say that I want it to be a different shape. I don't want it to be a circle.
You can do any color, right?
You can do any color you want. And I'm going to change my shape and I'm going to say, you know what? I want it to be a square. So I'm going to say a black square and I'm saying, I want it to be really big. This is a really giant, nasty landfill and I'm going to make it a really big square. So then I'm just going to, let's see, go down and hit OK. And that's going to change my landfill. So then when I hit active landfill, I can look on the map and I can see that this is my landfill here. So you can change the colors of any of these to anything you want. So for my golf course, I'm going to make this a green square and I'm just going to increase the size. And let's see, for my horse stables, you can do anything that you want here. You can make them any color, any shape. You don't have to change the colors. If you don't want to change the colors, you don't have to. It's totally up to you. I'm going to make my sewage treatment a yellow because it's kind of nasty and gross. Okay. And I'm just going to make my houses, let's see, I'll just make them blue and I'll make them purple and I'll make them, let's see, green. Okay. So once you're finished customizing this however you want to, again, they don't have to be done in any specific way. It's totally up to you. Then you can just hit the back button here by change style and you can hit done. Okay.
You mean
Does anyone have any questions about that?
Yeah. What was the last few steps? I didn't. So you have that, and then I'm done customizing. What do I do?
So for that, so we just went here. You're just gonna go this back button right here by change style. You're just gonna hit the close, and then you're gonna hit done.
Okay. So we'll save. Okay.
Yeah. So that way it saved it.
Wait, so after you finish customizing them, you just press OK?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. What we're going to do is, in order to save the map, there's no save button in the upper right. Oh, here it is. So you're going to hit this save button.
It didn't save for me.
It didn't save?
No.
So
nor did
you hit?
I'm looking. It didn't save.
I think you had to hit OK.
Yeah.
For the. There was
okay, wait. Let's see. That's a good point. Hold on. We'll just say this. Okay.
Which well number was it?
Which well number was it? Did you say? So far, we haven't changed anything with well numbers so far. You should be on the local places tab. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so it should hit change style and then hit. Oh wait, why doesn't that save? Give me a second.
I think you need to press OK because you need to scroll down and press OK, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know why my maybe the browser. Oh, there it is. All right, that's why. Yeah, my browser wasn't fully showing this window. Okay, that makes sense. Make this larger. Okay. So we're just gonna hit OK.
How did you return to that screen? How did you return how did you return to that screener?
So right here, if you go to your details and you go to content, where it has these little shapes here, you can hit change style, and then you can return to your options. And then active landfill. We'll once again make this block here. We'll hit OK. And then we'll hit done. And that should save our active landfill. Okay. Okay, that should make sense. All right. Okay. If you're lost on where you are on the map, that's okay. I lost where I am on the map. Oh, it says unable to locate you. That's cool. We'll just, what do you do after you change the symbols? So after you change the symbols, you should be here. Just hit the OK button and then hit done. So what we're going to do now is we have to save our map. So we're going to go to this button up here at the top that says save. And we're going to hit save as. And I'm just going to call this my TechGirlz map. And then just hit save map. One tag, okay. I'm just going to put TechGirlz as my tag. That way I can see all of your lovely maps later.
So I just click save map, right?
Yeah, save map. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to add our well data to the map.
Wait,
So after,
sorry, but how do I save it again? Sorry.
So you're just going to go to this button here that says save, and you're going to hit save as. You're going to give it a title, and then for the tag, just type in TechGirlz, and then hit save map. Okay.
When I
So
type in the tag, it says no existing tags match.
that's okay. Just hit enter.
Okay.
I could type in here, if I type in my map, smiley face, just hit enter. It doesn't really matter. So then hit save map. Okay, so once we have our map saved, what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to do this again, but this time with our data sheet that has all of the Cape Cod data. So we're going to go add layer from file, and we're going to go choose file again. And now we are going to pick our file that we saved earlier, right? I named it Rachel Water Quality, and it is my CSV, right? Here it says comma separated values file. And I'm going to hit open.
In the same map or different map?
Same map. Same map. So then we're going to hit import layer. And it's going to give you a warning, and you're just going to hit OK. We don't care about that warning. OK. So now that we're here, it's going to say choose an attribute.
Sorry, I got confused. Can you try that? Do that again? Because I got.
Yes. So we're going to go to add, and you're going to hit. If you don't have the OK button after changing the symbols, Amira, go to the corner of your web browser and zoom out a little bit. It's a problem with the ArcGIS online system. But to add a layer from file, we're going to click add from file, choose file, and then we're going to select the water quality file that we saved earlier as a CSV. You're going to hit open, and then you're going to import that layer. Now it's going to give you a warning. You're just going to hit OK.
Quick question. So the layer that we just imported is the one where we put the well and we ordered it on Google. I mean Excel.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And one other thing, I didn't get a warning when I imported the layer. Does that mean I did something wrong, or?
I would say no. I would say just go for it.
Thank you.
No worries. You can hit save as, Amira. All right. Well, it's good that some people aren't getting warnings. All right. So now that we're here, we're going to change our attribute. We don't want it to be ordering by well number. We want to change this to contaminant level, right? This is the attribute that we added, the column that we added. So we're able to order these by different contaminant levels. So This means that it's going to be showing different colors for the different levels. So now once again, we're going to hit options. And we can see here that it's giving labels based on the categories that we gave it, right? So we can see that we have 56 that are in high, 22 in low, 13 in medium, and 9 in very high. So this time we're going to change the color of our symbols, but we're not going to change the shape. So for very high, what we're going to do is we're going to change this and we're going to make this bright red. Okay? For high, we're going to change this and we're going to make it orange. For medium, we're going to make this yellow. And for low, we're going to make this green. Okay, so now if we look across our map, we can see that we have a smattering of different colors here. So our very high again is red, our high is orange, medium is yellow, and low is green. So we're gonna hit OK again, and then we're gonna hit done.
I messed up on my other one, so how do I get back into it to edit it?
So if you want to get back into edit it, you can go to, if you just click the details tab in content, you can see you have your local places or your water quality. If you click the shape button here, you can go back in, hit options, and you can change these. So for instance, I don't like the fact that now one of my houses, my house B, is orange. I don't like that because now I have my contaminant is orange. So I'm just going to change everything in here to be a square. That way I can tell it apart from my other things, right? Because everything else that I have is a circle. So if I change these to be squares, that means I can tell them all apart really easily.
It doesn't matter what color's on that one, right?
It doesn't matter what colors, but it might be a good idea to make them different colors than the contaminant levels, just so you can see them differently, right?
Yeah.
For your local places, you don't have to put any specific colors, but doing a different color from the colors that we're using for our pollution levels might be a good idea. Just to reiterate. Okay. Okay. So now, if I look on my map, I can sort of click around, I can zoom in, I can zoom out, but I can see that I have a well 38 right here, has low contaminant level, and right by it is house C. So that's where one of my houses is. I can see that I have house A right here, and that is sort of in between wells that are medium and wells that are high, right? We can see that there's sort of a difference in where our wells are located, right? And where contaminant levels are. So if we zoom out, we can see there's sort of a gradient where we have really low contaminants here that are green. Then we have our medium range right here in yellow. We have our high range here. And then we have our very high range right here. Does anyone have any questions about reaching this step here?
Hi, Rachel. Can we take just a minute to allow some of the students to catch up? And then also we have some students that are in a breakout room.
Absolutely. We can take a quick break.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That's right, Gwen. So if anyone in the main room, if you need any help or you want me to go over something again, just let me know. I'd be happy to go over anything again.
Do we have to change the shape?
You don't have to change the shape, but it might be a good idea to change the shape of the items in your local places so that they're not all circles, because everything for our wells, the data that we're using, we have circles for these, right? For high, low, medium, we're using circles for those. So it might be a good idea to change everything in local places so that when you look at the map, you can differentiate better, right? You can tell them apart.
Okay.
Yes, Raina?
At the beginning of the class, I think we opened up a blank workbook in Excel. Are we gonna use that?
No, we won't be working with the blank
Okay.
worksheet in Excel. That was just to demonstrate matrices with rows and columns.
Okay.
Yeah, you can absolutely save again.
I named mine to Catherine water quality Cape Cod or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because that just makes sense.
That's a good idea, yeah. Okay.
Is this what we're gonna do, or is there anything else we're doing?
Yeah, so we're going to do another section. I just want to make sure that people are caught up a little bit if they're still really, really stuck. If you guys are still really, really stuck, raise your hand and we can put you in a breakout room with a TA and they can help you through anything that you're stuck on. So does anyone want to go to a breakout room? Okay, Marley. Marley, do you want to go to a breakout room with one of the TAs? Okay. All right. I can't use the breakout room, but if someone with host powers can organize that, that would be lovely.
Caitlin is working on putting Marley with Helena.
Okay, awesome.
And then we'll also, Kessler, and we'll also put you in that breakout room as well.
Okay. All right. Don't worry, guys. We'll get you caught up.
If I wanted to do this for my city that I live in, how will I get the data for?
That's a really good question. That's like a little bit beyond the scope of what we can do in this session. But what you would essentially have to do is you'd have to try to go to your city's website and see if you can find a database where they have both contaminants and wells. And you'd have to be able to find the data for that and then input it. This works really well because the data has already been set up, but there are definitely people in your city that know how to do that because this is important information that like all cities keep track of.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're gonna do another function right now with our add button. So we're gonna click add and then we're gonna go to add map notes. And we're gonna call this map notes, gonna backspace that completely. And you're going to click pollution contours is what we're gonna call this right now. So that's going to be pollution contours. and it's going to say template map notes, and that's okay. And then you're just going to hit create. So again, what we did was we went to add map notes. We named this pollution contours, and then we hit create. Okay. So from here, they have a ton of different features. What we're going to do is we're going to click on the button that says freehand line. So what this means is you're going to be using your trackpad and you're going to be drawing a line to separate the wells from low and medium, right? So we can see here that we have green and yellow, and we're just going to draw a line that goes between the green and the yellow wells. Okay. So this box is going to come up, and we're going to name this line low, medium. We're going to color this line green by hitting the change symbol button, and we're just going to select green, and we're going to hit OK. Then we're going to hit close.
Wait, can you do that again?
Absolutely. So we're going to go to where it says freehand line. You're going to select it, and then you're going to draw, click and drag a line between your green line, or your green dots, and your yellow dots. So I'm just going to do this again, but I'm going to do it, and you should follow along. You can do it between your green and your yellow dots, and then you're just going to repeat it, and you're going to do it between your yellow and your orange dots.
How did
So
we get to that place on the left?
Okay. So from here, you're going to go from add, and you're going to go to add map notes.
And how do you change the color too?
I'll be to get that in a sec. We're going to call this pollution contours, and then you're going to hit create. And that is going to give you this, this right here, where you're going to select freehand line from this sidebar. Then in order to change the color, you're going to go, after you've drawn your line, you're going to hit the change symbol button. And because this is between low and medium, we are going to color this, or this is between medium and high. So we're going to color this yellow.
Can I split all of them? So like I'm gonna split all of do all the splitting. Can I do that now?
Yeah, you can do that. So you should do your low, medium, and then we'll do medium, high, and hit close. So that splits that, right? And now we're going to do our last one, which is high and very high, right? So once again, we just go to this area that says freehand line, and we can create a contour between the red dots and the orange dots. So we have to sort of circle around like that. So once again, we'll name this one high and very high. We're going to change the color for this one to be orange. Hit OK, and then you'll hit close. So does anyone have any questions about how to create the contour lines here?
No, I just need to circle it and stuff.
That's okay. 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 I'll just show it again one more time in case anyone's behind or needs help with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to add map notes, type in pollution contours, hit create. Oh, well, let me delete this layer first. So from here you hit add map notes, pollution contours. If you've already done it, great. If not, we're just showing you how to do it. You're going to select freehand line from underneath lines, and you're going to draw a line between your green dots and your yellow dots. We're going to call this low medium. We're going to hit the change symbol button, and we're going to make it green. Hit OK, then hit close, and then hit freehand line again. Draw a line between your yellow and orange dots. We're going to call this medium high. Going to hit change symbol. You can hit orange, or actually this one should be yellow. Hit OK. Close, and then for the last time, we hit freehand line. Due to pollution contours, all of your symbols turned green. Okay, that's interesting. Did you do your layer as a map note? Because it should be a separate layer for that. So you hit add map note, that should be the selection that you do in order to do that. So they should be separate from your previous ones right here. So if you go to your, Simone, if you go to your content layout, does it have 3 different layers here? Is my screen still sharing?
Yeah.
Okay.
After I finish doing the lines, what do I do? How do I save it?
So after you finish doing the lines, you can just hit the save button and hit save as, or you can just hit save, and it'll continue to save your content. Okay. So Simone, were you able to have your pollution contours separate from your sort of contaminants here? You fixed it? Awesome. Okay. So now that we're doing this, we can think about where our water is flowing, right? So let's stop and look for a second and see what we just did here. We just sort of drew a line to divide between our low contaminant and our medium contaminant, a line between our medium and our high, and a line between our high and our very high. So where do you guys think that the water is flowing? If you had to take an educated guess.
It's probably flowing like very contaminated to like, maybe it depends. I'm not really sure, but the green to like the red. So like it's over time become more and more contaminated, maybe.
That's a really good hypothesis. So
or it could be the opposite. It gets less contaminated as it goes out the ocean, but I'm more sure it gets more contaminated when it goes in the land.
That's a really good question. So if we think about it, we talked about sources of nitrate pollution, right? We talked about how it could be from agricultural runoff. We also talked about how it could be from waste. So if we look at our local places here, we can see these are potential sources of contamination. We can see that this star here is a sewage treatment plant, and that's sort of in the middle of a very high contamination zone. We can see that we have, let's see, where's our golf course at? We've got a house here underneath this well right here. So this is probably a private well belonging to this house. But the real big thing that we can notice here is that we have our active landfill right here is pretty close to all of these areas of very high contaminant, right? So these ones are all red, and the ones that are red are the ones that are really close to this area here. So what's probably likely is that we're sort of seeing the groundwater is flowing from area of high contamination to an area of low contamination. So over time, contaminants are being left behind in the soil, and the water that's moving out is becoming less contaminated. So the areas that are closest to this active landfill right here, where they're dumping waste into the ground, that's probably going to be our source of contamination. So if we go back to our contour map, by just hitting the edit button, we can draw an arrow, and I think that our water is flowing from this area to this area. That's where I think our water is flowing. I'm just going to name this water flow. Okay. So does that make sense?
Could you show how you did the arrow part one more time?
Absolutely. So just going from our sort of detail screen here, I just hit the edit button, and then I selected for pollution contours, I just hit my left arrow here, and then I drew it in. Okay. So we can see that over this area of time, as the water flows, it's becoming less and less contaminated, especially as it's heading out to this area where we have a lot of water that's not near a contaminant source. So thinking about that, let's see, which house do you think you'd want to live in? If we're looking at where our houses are, we can tell that we have our house C, which is all the way out here. We have our house A, which is right here. Oops. And then we have our house B, which is right here. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of,
House C?
Yeah, you probably want to live in house C, right? That's the farthest from our contaminants. See, this one right here, this house B, or this house A, it's kind of in between house B and house C, but we can see it's also near a sewage treatment plant, and this could possibly be having an impact here on the contaminant level of our wells that are in this orange region. But we definitely wouldn't want to be in house B right here, because this one is near a lot of wells with really high contaminant levels. Okay, so now we're just going to hit our save button. We just have to hit save. We don't need to hit save as. And what we're going to do now is we're going to create a story map. So what this means is, this is the tab that I'm going to send to you. So this is the link here. And from this, we are going to go.
Sorry, but before I accidentally pressed save as, will that change it?
No, that won't change it. You'll be okay.
Okay.
So with this link here that I just gave you, we're on the story maps page, and you're going to hit the button that says My Stories. Okay. We'll let it load for a second. And what we're going to do is you're going to hit the button that says Create Story. And you're going to choose the button that says Cascade. Okay. So now that we have this that says Cascade, I'm going to just type in a title, and I'm going to say water pollution. Absolutely. So on the link that I just pasted in the chat, you're going to go to the tab that says My Stories. Yeah, just add any tag. You can, for a tag, you can just add TechGirlz. It's okay. It's going to say that there's none found. Just hit enter, and it will make it a tag anyway. Okay. So from here, you're just going to hit Create Story, and then you're going to select Cascade. All right. So from here, we're going to add our story title. Actually, first we're gonna hit save. We need to add a title to save. So we're going to say water pollution in Cape Cod, because that's what we just did. So we're going to hit the save button. You can hit the down arrow, and there should be a plus button here. Let's see. So from here, you should hit the plus, and you can hit the media button. And you can select the map that we just made. So it should show up here as whatever you named it. So from here, it should give you a map. See, here we go. And you can zoom in and you can zoom out. And you can add a caption here. So I'm going to say my map. If I add a title. Oh no, I didn't want to do that. So I can add whatever text that I want. So I can say, this is the map that I shows. I think that this is the land. So you guys can customize this and write whatever you want and show what you learned here, what you think happened. Yeah, you can make it. You can talk about if we make a new page here. We go to, let's see, my content. That's not what I want to do. We'll hit the save button. Let's see. If we add content here again, we want to add a page. Where do we think the nitrate is the highest? You can just answer these questions on your document right here that you're making your cascade story map.
Oh, so
those are the. Oh, go ahead.
Those two questions are what I need to.
Yeah, those are the two questions that you can answer when you type out your little caption here. So when you hit the plus button and then you hit text, you can answer those two questions and talk about your map.
Okay.
And then when you're done, you can hit save. If you really want to get fancy, you can hit the settings button here. And you can go to the appearance tab and you can say, well, I want it to be the dark one. And I want it to be this font. I want it to be this font. And you can hit apply and it'll change. And if I wanted to use a different image, maybe I'll search for Cape Cod. They don't have anything, so maybe I'll search Flickr for Cape Cod. I did not have what I was looking for. We'll just type in ocean. Let's see what we can. Let's see. I like this picture for my background, so I'll choose this. There we go. Does anyone need any help? Do you want me to go over anything again? Okay. Yeah, so just take a couple minutes to import your map and to write up what you learned, where you think the pollution is coming from, where you think the water is going.
At the nitrate. Nitrate's the less contaminated, or is it more contaminated? It's probably less contaminated, right?
So nitrate is the chemical compound that we're noticing in the water. And so when we have high levels of nitrate, that's going to be more contaminated, right? So we can see that our concentration here in milligrams per liter is 73.22. So that was above 30. So we said that was very high. But if we look down here, we can tell that our nitrate level here is the concentration is only 1.53 milligrams per liter. So we're going to say that's very low. So the more nitrate that you have, the more contaminated it's going to be.
How do we change the background picture?
So if you want to change your background picture for your cover, you can just go to cover right here. And you can go to, let's see, where did it go? Oh boy, it's not letting me change this. Huh, okay, wait. I think the edit button. You can go to background, change media. There should be a button that says, allows you to change media. And from there, you can click on a picture if you type something in using Flickr.
By the way, nitrate. Can you put it in the chat so I can like try to spell it?
Oh, absolutely. So nitrate. There you go. All right. And then as you're finishing that up, there is a survey that they have just placed in the chat, and that is for you guys to fill out about this workshop, about what you learned. So take a moment to do that after you guys finish up with your sites.
In the survey, the first question is like what event you attended. So what do we like put for that?
Let me see if I can find the name of this event, and I'll put that in the chat for you.
Okay, thank you. Also, when you're finished, how do you like save it and stuff?
So when you're finished, you can just hit the save button right here.
Okay.
Yeah, and that will save it to your profile. All right, let me get the name of the workshop for you guys. Okay. It's a really long name, so you can just copy and paste. There you go. Absolutely. So that is all the workshop that I have for you guys today. I hope you had fun. I know it was a little bit confusing at times, but you guys were such good troopers and you guys stuck through it. And I hope you learned a lot from this, not only about how to use Excel or ArcGIS Online, but I hope you learned a little bit about water pollution and about how scientists are able to use sort of big data and to be able to create maps and make a better environment for everybody.